Hi folks, this is all the fruit, and here I have a field with linseed. Now you might yell, wait, this is no linseed, this is sunflower seed. Yes, you're right, those big flowers are sunflowers, and if left alone they will produce sunflower seeds. But if you look at this is not a mere sunflower field. Well, somebody has planted, the local farmer has planted some type of fallow or some type of fertilizer, a mixture of plants which are usually used to fertilize and revitalize the soil. Sunflowers, buckwheat, phacelia, this is some relative of rapeseed. What else? Trifolium incarnatum, some clover. I see also one or two smaller plants over there, but here is the star of today's video, the linseed. Very few people nowadays in Europe have seen linseed or a linseed field, which is quite strange because if you look at the names, well, we have linnen. In English is the standard name for your bed sheets. Well, in Germany, Leine is the standard name for a rope. Both used to be made from linen, from flax. Well, also we all know still know the word flax, still use the word linen. Linseed, they are being used in European cuisine. But the plant, there are very few fields you could see of this plant nowadays. In Germany officially has about 30 hectares. That's how much? 50 or 70 acres, something like that. For a country the size of Germany, this is not a lot. Just really strange. The Latin name of the flax or linseed is Linum usitatissimum, the most used one or the most useful one. Strange. But until a little bit over 100 years ago, this stuff really was the most used and the most planted fiber all over Europe. But let's look at the history of this stuff before we start munching on it. Let's show a little bit of respect. Okay, let's collect a bit and then let's sit down somewhere. Well, the oldest little, I think it was a little rope made from flax, which was discovered, I think it was somewhere in the Caucasus. It's about 30,000 years old, but I'm sure not before long somebody will discover something about 100,000 years old. Well, because I think as soon as humans became humans, they started twisting and weaving this stuff. This was probably one of the first fibers humans used. And about 9,000 years ago, in the Fertile Crescent in Syria, cultivation of this plant started. Before that, only the wild flax was used. And 5,000 years ago, the big cultures like Chinese, Indians, Egyptians were growing it on a large scale. The Egyptian mummies are wrapped in linen made from flax. And also Egyptian priests would wear nothing but clothes made from flax because it was considered a very pure material. The Romans cultivated it on a large scale. Then after the decline of the Roman Empire, the flax cultivation also declined. And then it was Emperor Charlemagne personally, who ordered this stuff to be grown again everywhere in the Frankish Empire. And the reasons are really amazing. He said that he wrote that it's a very healthy food. You should grow it for the health benefits of the linseed and for hygienic reasons, because he decided that wearing clean flax clothes, is definitely more hygienic than wearing stinky animal furs. Yeah, and then, yeah, basically it has been grown pretty much all over the world, but in the 19th century, cotton started replacing it. So at the beginning of the 20th century, it was grown only in quite remote areas, like in Germany, in the mountain areas of the Allgäu near Munich, or also in areas like Scandinavia, in the Alps. And yeah, then it was pushed towards northern Russia, and I think in Europe the only big areas of cultivation in the 20th century and nowadays are in northern Russia, where not many other things would grow. The biggest producer nowadays is Canada, and they mostly grow varieties which are used for the linseed. Basically, they are varieties which produce quite a good flax, but they don't have so much importance nowadays. And of course, even the seeds of those varieties are being used. But then there are varieties which are planted just for the seeds. I don't know if the low quality fibers of those varieties are being used or not. But yeah, there are varieties used for the seeds, which contain mostly fat. And most varieties contain fat very rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which are very healthy. But there is one variety. There are two varieties. The one used for the one used for the fibers, the other used for the seeds. Well, the one used for the fibers and the seeds, the other one used mostly for the seeds. Then with the seeds, there are again two varieties, yellow seeds and brown seeds. Let's see what variety those are. Looks like those are the brown variety. And then in the yellow variety, there are again two varieties. One of them is called linola, which has a totally different composition of fats, with very few omega-3 fatty acids, and which is also quite popular for human consumption. So what can you do with those seeds? Well, the fat is the main ingredient and also the main useful part. Basically, you can use it for human consumption, like Charlemagne, and before him, I'm sure even the Stone Age people. You can make it into lacs, paints, varnish, anything. Linoleum is a thing. They used it to cover floors with it. Basically, you can denaturate it so that you can basically make a stable surface, a stable, smooth, hygienic surface out of it, and walk on the surface for decades before it gets destroyed. Well, the oil. You can also use, you can also make waxy substances out of the oil, and those out of remnants of the stem, which you get after you extract the fibers. The oil is, you can use it against constipation, the other medicinal uses, but it's mainly being used for its culinary value. It's quite a healthy, tasty oil. And then, when you extract the oil, you are left with a thing called sometimes cake, which is basically a very protein and fiber-rich mush. And you can feed this to all types of animals, from fish and chickens to pigs and dogs and goats and sheep and cattle and horses, and basically to almost every animal for a nice protein-rich diet. Well, let's try those seeds now. Tastes like hazelnuts. Nice. Well, nowadays you can buy the oil and also the seeds in German supermarkets, but you don't see the field so much, so most of the stuff is being imported from places like Canada and Russia. Tasty. You can see them sometimes in heritage parks and agricultural museums. You can see other flax species as ornamentals in parks, and here, like in this case on this field, which is being planted to to give the soil a rest and to fertilize it with those plants. That's actually the main part. You can see them. Well, I cannot find a single flower. Well, I'm sure, for example, on this plant some of them flowered not long ago, but it's a pity because the flowers are really nice. They're a nice blue, a little bit more light blue than those blue flowers here. Really cannot find a single one. Most of the plants are ripe, and even if they had been single flowers today, it's in the afternoon now, and I think the heat of the afternoon made them shed even the last petals. But there was a time when those flowers were quite popular. I mentioned that one of the last areas in Germany where the stuff was being cultivated on a larger scale was the Allgäu, a mountain area near Munich in Bavaria. And in the roaring 20s, people on the weekends in late spring and early summer used to drive into the blue, or in German ins Blaue fahren. That still means just going on holidays. And driving into the blue means they would take their cars or also the train and go to those areas and make hikes and picnics amidst the giant blue flax fields there. It was a very popular pastime 100 years ago until the fields disappeared for economic reasons, but the expression remained. So folks, this was the linseed or flax. Tasty stuff. Amazing. The capsules, the fruit capsules are quite tough, but still it's not unpleasant to munch on them. The hazelnut taste is not present. I guess it gets masked by the taste of the capsule itself, but you can still taste the fat. So folks, this was the flax or linseed. Stay tuned for a lot more fruit videos from the beautiful city of Heidelberg. And don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe.